Did you know that most of us are only scratching the surface of who we could become? That beneath the busy to-do lists, endless scrolling, and comfortable routines, there's a much more capable, much more powerful version of you just waiting to be awakened. It's not a motivational fantasy, it's reality. You've just been living in low power mode, mistaking survival for success. It's like finding an old, dusty lamp in your attic, only to discover it's been a treasure chest this entire time. That's your potential. And the truth is, it's not gone, it's dormant. Stoic philosophy doesn't just tell you to dream bigger, it tells you to wake up, because you're not just a passenger in this life, you're the architect. The Stoics believed we shape our destiny moment by moment, choice by choice. Every small decision you make either builds you or breaks you. That's your real power, your agency. Epictetus once said, "First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That's not just a quote, it's a formula. First comes clarity, then comes the work. No shortcuts, no fantasies, just decisions repeated until they become identity. But let's be real. If you feel like you're underperforming, you're not the only one. Most people are. And the most dangerous thing isn't that you know you're not living at your best. It's that you start to believe this lower level is all there is, that this is just how life feels. That's the slow death, not failure, not rejection, but settling, coasting. And deep down, you know it. That quiet frustration you carry, that restless energy when you're alone. It's your potential knocking, begging to be let out. So the real question isn't, do I have potential? It's, am I willing to start living like I do? Because you can't just recognize your potential. You have to claim it. You have to embody it. Breathe it into your choices, speak it through your actions, and anchor it in the way you show up every single day. And this begins with the enemy that creeps in quietly, the fog we rarely see until we're already knee-deep in it. That fog is called mediocrity. And the problem is it doesn't announce itself with alarms. It seeps in. It disguises itself as good enough. It whispers things like, "At least you have a job," or "Not everyone is meant for greatness." And before you know it, you're living a life built entirely out of lowered expectations. It's not about shaming yourself. It's not about being some overachieving machine. It's about being honest, brutally honest, about whether you're living by design or just drifting through your days. Mediocrity isn't just a lack of ambition. It's in the daily compromises. It's in the "I'll start Monday," and the "maybe this is just who I am." It shows up in procrastination, in mindless scrolling, in the avoidance of the hard conversations you know you need to have. And worst of all, it shows up in settling, not because you're incapable, but because comfort is easier. But Stoicism doesn't tolerate that. It calls it out. The Stoics believed in a life rooted in virtue and reason, not comfort. They aimed for mastery of self, for the kind of inner excellence that doesn't fade when life gets hard. Marcus Aurelius didn't rule an empire by choosing ease. Epictetus didn't rise from slavery by making excuses. They flipped obstacles into opportunities. They turned suffering into fuel. And most importantly, they believed that excellence isn't some privilege for the chosen few. It's a path anyone can walk if they're willing to wake up and choose it. So ask yourself, are you acting out of habit or out of intention? Are you giving your best or just getting by? The answer to those questions doesn't define your worth. And once you spot the patterns keeping you stuck, you can start breaking them. You don't have to quit everything and move to the mountains. You just have to take one bold step toward discomfort, the kind of discomfort that actually matters. It starts with noticing where you're holding back. Maybe it's your work, showing up but never really challenging yourself. Maybe it's in your relationships, keeping it surface level because real connection feels risky. Or maybe it's your goals, the ones you keep pushing to someday. But someday never comes unless you drag it into today. That's where the comfort zone really shows its teeth. It doesn't feel dangerous. It feels warm, familiar, and safe. But that's the trap. It keeps you numb, not fulfilled, and Stoicism doesn't sugarcoat that reality. The Stoics believed growth and ease were opposites. If you're constantly seeking comfort, you're avoiding the very path that sharpens your mind, strengthens your character, and expands your potential. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." And he meant it. Every challenge is a gem for your soul. Think about the things you instinctively resist: waking up earlier, having a difficult conversation, starting a project you feel unqualified for. That resistance is not a stop sign. It's a spotlight. It shows you exactly where the growth lives. But let's be real, growth hurts. It's awkward. It's scary. It means looking stupid sometimes, failing, being misunderstood. And yet, every great life was built on those exact moments. No one becomes unshakable by staying in their safe little routine. So how do you face the fear? Start small. Voluntary discomfort is one of the most practical tools in Stoic philosophy. It's not about suffering, it's about strengthening. Wear simpler clothes. Eat plainer food. Skip luxuries for a week. Why? Because it reminds you that you can survive without the fluff. It teaches you that you are enough without external padding. And when you do this deliberately, your brain starts to adapt. Discomfort stops feeling like danger and starts feeling like power, because it is. Every time you lean into discomfort, you tell your old self, the weak, fragile version of you, that its time is up. This isn't theoretical, it's muscle, mental muscle, and it builds fast when you use it. Speak up in the meeting. Sign up for the class you think is too advanced. Go for the goal that feels just out of reach. You don't have to win immediately. You just have to move, boldly, awkwardly, but with intention. And in doing so, you chip away at the shell of mediocrity. You reclaim your edge. And that's the start of building not just a better routine, but a better you. Because as you begin to step into discomfort, something else shows up. That voice, the one that says you're not ready or you're not good enough. That's not the truth, that's the inner critic. And if you don't deal with it, it will quietly sabotage every breakthrough before it starts. The Stoics understood this enemy well. Epictetus taught that most of our suffering doesn't come from reality, it comes from our interpretation of reality. The stories we tell ourselves. And that critic in your head, it's just a story you've heard too many times. Here's the problem. We don't question it. The thought arises and we assume it must be true. I'm not qualified. I always mess things up. But Stoic training begins with one powerful shift, separating thought from fact. That voice is not you, it's noise. And like any noise, it can be tuned out. Start by observing. Don't argue, don't suppress, just notice. When that negative thought rises, pause. Ask yourself, is this useful? Does this align with who I'm becoming? Chances are it doesn't. And if it doesn't serve your growth, it doesn't deserve your attention. Now replace it. Stoicism isn't just about silence, it's about active mental discipline. Marcus Aurelius didn't just journal his doubts, he rewrote them. He reminded himself of his values, his strength, and the impermanence of all fear. You can do the same. Use counter-narratives. If the critic says you'll fail, you respond, then I'll learn, and next time I'll be stronger. If it says you're not like them, you say exactly, and that's my advantage. This isn't toxic positivity. It's realistic resilience. And here's a Stoic tool that helps even more: preparation. Fear shrinks when met with preparation. The critic thrives in chaos and unpreparedness. But when you've done the work, even a little, it loses its power, because you're not walking in empty-handed anymore. Over time, the critic quiets, not because it disappears, but because it realizes you're not listening. You're too busy doing, too busy building, too busy becoming someone it no longer recognizes. And that's the goal, to keep building forward, not for applause, but for alignment with who you truly are. And that's when another trap reveals itself. Control. The mind, once quieted, now looks for certainty, a guarantee that everything will go exactly as planned. But life doesn't work like that. And the more you try to grip it, the more it slips away. Control is comforting, but it's an illusion. The Stoics didn't ignore that urge. They dissected it. Epictetus spoke clearly about the dichotomy of control. There are things we can influence and things we can't. Most people suffer because they confuse the two. Think about how much stress comes from trying to force things, forcing people to understand us, outcomes to favor us, timing to match our desires. But none of these are ours to command. And the more energy we spend on controlling the uncontrollable, the less energy we have for what actually matters. Here's the paradox. The moment you release control, you gain power. Why? Because your focus shifts inward to what is yours, your thoughts, your effort, your integrity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means you stop demanding life to be something it's not. It means you show up fully. Do the work, speak your truth, give your best, and then you let it go. You trust the process. Because trying to micromanage the future is like trying to control the wind. All it does is tire you out. But when you loosen the grip, when you stop trying to engineer every outcome, life surprises you. Opportunities appear that you never could have planned for. People enter your life at the right moment. The pressure fades and peace takes its place. Look at your own life. What are you gripping too tightly? A relationship, a career goal, a version of yourself that no longer fits? Imagine what might happen if you let it breathe, if you stopped forcing and started flowing. Because that's the Stoic secret. Surrender isn't weakness, it's strategy. And the more you practice it, the more freedom you create. Not by mastering the world, but by mastering your response to it. And once you stop forcing outcomes, another truth begins to surface. Life moves on its own schedule, not yours. That dream you've been working toward, the progress you expected to see by now, the answers you're still waiting on, they all unfold in their own time. And when you resist that, you suffer. We live in a world addicted to speed. Fast food, fast results, fast gratification, but anything real, anything meaningful takes time. The Stoics knew this deeply. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly. Wisdom isn't rushed. Strength isn't microwaved. And growth demands patience." Think of the farmer. He tills the soil, plants the seeds, waters the ground, but he doesn't scream at the earth to hurry. He doesn't dig it up every day to check if something's sprouting. He trusts the process, even if he can't see the results yet. That's what embracing timing means. It's understanding that the space between planting and harvest is sacred. It's where character is built. It's where you learn to keep showing up, even when nothing seems to be happening. This applies to everything: your career, your relationships, your own healing. There will be days when it feels like nothing's moving, like the universe is silent. But in that stillness, you're being prepared. You're becoming the person who's ready for what you asked for. Maturity is realizing that delay doesn't mean denial, that the timing you're fighting might be protecting you from things you're not ready for. And sometimes the detour ends up being the real path. Marcus Aurelius once said, "What stands in the way becomes the way. So the delay, it's not blocking your path. It is the path. The waiting, the wondering, the long nights and empty mornings, they're shaping you quietly, consistently. And if you let them, they'll prepare you for what's next. So next time you find yourself anxious because life isn't moving fast enough, take a breath. Ask yourself, what's still growing beneath the surface? What part of me is being strengthened in this waiting? Because you can't rush becoming. And when the time is right, not before, not after, life will open the door. You just have to be ready to walk through it. And when that door finally opens, the mindset you carry determines whether you step into it with fear or with faith. That's where abundance comes in, not just as a financial idea, but as a way of seeing the world. Most people operate from a place of scarcity. They believe there's never enough, not enough time, not enough opportunities, not enough love, not enough success. This belief system becomes a lens, and through it, they see only what's lacking. They move with desperation, they grasp, they chase, and ironically, they repel the very things they're trying to attract. The Stoics understood this illusion long before modern psychology ever named it. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Abundance isn't something you wait for, it's something you practice. It begins the moment you stop obsessing over what you don't have and start recognizing what's already here. This isn't about pretending everything's perfect. It's about refusing to live your life as if you're in deficit. Because when you operate from a place of, I already have enough to take the next step, everything changes. You stop chasing and you start choosing. You stop begging the world to give you something and you start creating from what's already within you. Imagine two people walking into a room. One believes they're lacking. They're not smart enough, attractive enough, accomplished enough. Their energy becomes tight, hesitant, and anxious. The other person walks in with the quiet confidence that they're whole. They're not begging for approval, they're just showing up fully. Which one do you think naturally attracts more? That's the power of abundance. It's not just about money or success. It's about presence. It's about recognizing that there's more than enough love, wisdom, and opportunity for you, if you believe it. And belief isn't passive. It's something you live. It shows in your posture, your choices, your tone of voice. When you trust in abundance, you give without fear. You take risks without panic. You support others without jealousy. And you receive without guilt. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." So stop starving in a world full of fruit. You don't need to grab or grasp. Just open your hands. Life was never short on gifts. It only waited for you to be ready to receive them. And once you start seeing abundance everywhere, the next challenge is learning to let go. To stop trying to grip life so tightly that you crush the very things you care about. Because here's the paradox. The more you try to control everything, the more out of control you feel. You plan every step. You obsess over how others react. You try to force things into place, whether it's your career, a relationship, or your timeline for success. And when it doesn't go exactly how you envisioned, frustration creeps in. Stress builds, resentment grows. You start believing that something is broken, but it's not life that's broken. It's your need for control. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus taught that freedom is the only worthy goal in life, and that freedom is found in releasing our grip on what's outside our power. We suffer not because of the world itself, but because we try to bend it to fit our expectations. So what happens when you let go? You begin to flow. You stop trying to micromanage every moment and start responding with presence. Life becomes lighter, more peaceful. You make decisions based on values, not fear. You stop needing to control outcomes to feel okay, because you've already decided that peace is an inside job. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting that you can handle whatever comes. It means loosening your grip on the future so you can hold on to the present. Imagine walking across a river on stepping stones. If you never release your back foot, you'll never move forward. Letting go is how you move. And it's not just for the big things, it's daily. Let go of trying to change people who don't want to change. Let go of outcomes you can't guarantee. Let go of timelines that weren't meant for you. The energy you reclaim is massive, as Marcus Aurelius wrote. Receive without pride, let go without attachment. That's not passive, that's power. It's the power of a mind that no longer gets shaken by every gust of wind. A mind that says, I'll give my best, and whatever happens, I'll stay grounded. Because at the end of the day, peace doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from trusting yourself enough to release what was never yours to carry.